Ah, first world problems. Which bike? I'd normally take the Eldorado, but there was a mystery gearbox noise I needed to investigate, and I wasn't fully sure it was ready. And the Cavalcade is a bit of a pig on gravel roads, so I decided to take the Breva. But the Breva needed a new rear tyre. Cue the family truck to take the Breva's wheel and new tyre over to Norm's to do the swap. With the Breva's new tyre installed and the bike packed, I was just waiting for morning. Day one was a longish day up to Wakami Lake Provincial Park. Some of it was on pleasant minor roads with little traffic. This one is Highway 118, which cuts across central Ontario. It's a nice easy ride through forest, past lakes, and through some small towns such as Alberta. A little further along I stopped for a quick break. It's blackfly season. Best not to linger too long. These guys were hungry.
Yep, they're bad.
A little rain. An hour or so on the 4-lane Highway 400. And I was soon on the Sudbury bypass heading for Highway 144. Time for a little lunch. The Northern Ontario blackflies haven't hatched yet, so I was able to eat without being bitten. The Onaping River runs close to the highway, dropping through a number of scenic little falls and chutes. Many miles further on I stopped to fill up with fuel before heading west on the discouragingly named Sultan Industrial Road. It's just a big gravel haul road. Despite the sign that suggested it might be in poor condition after the winter, it was as close to perfect as gravel roads get. I've ridden this road multiple times on many different bikes. It's a shortcut across to Chapleau and Wawa. There's 70 kilometers of gravel before you hit the paved road at Sultan. Eventually I reached the entrance to Wakami Lake Provincial Park. The first couple of kilometers were a nasty surface of freshly laid gravel, which looked like crushed mine tailings. But at the old park entrance it turned into a more normal gravel road for the next 5 kilometers, until I reached the campsite. By now I was quite tired, so finding that the park was almost completely deserted, I chose a site by the lakeshore and put up my tent. Back in the 1990s, my friend Steve and I had used this park as a base for some archaeological work we were doing on the Spanish River system on behalf of the Ministry of Natural Resources. It was great to be back. It's easy to forget just how quiet the natural world is, without generators, vehicle traffic, and the other endless sounds we humans surround ourselves with. Just the ripples of the water, a blue jay in the distance, a Canada warbler chirping in the bushes. Perfect. The next morning I retraced my steps out of the park, stopping briefly at this little creek crossing to have a look at the world in the early morning light. All was still and silent. Heading west towards Wawa, the temperature gauge on my dash was showing 2 degrees Celsius. It was a bit chilly. And there's a reason you see those regular signs warning about moose. Hitting one of these guys would be no joke. Beyond Wawa, the big Highway 17 cuts inland for a while before rejoining Lake Superior near Marathon. Nice country. Plenty of rocks, hills and lakes. Sometimes you have to get off the bike for the best views. And sometimes not. I pulled into this scenic lookout for a glimpse of a tiny part of Lake Superior. I'd been intending to ride much further west, but that night in Nipigon I made the decision to turn for home. Everywhere I wanted to head was either already on fire, was affected by haze and smoke, or was in the high-risk zone. It seemed pointless to ride into areas where there was the likelihood that I wouldn't be able to see much. And anyway, I wasn't really feeling up for a month-long road trip. I'd lost my focus. I had no critical objective to draw me on. I'd save my travel money for another day. Days 3 and 4 were a long haul home along Highway 11, the northern route across northern Ontario. This is the main truck route. Once past the high cliffs along Lake Nipigon, it's just a long haul through endless forest without much scenic relief. I must admit, I didn't take much video or many pictures, and didn't stop too often. The last day from Kapuskasing to home was about 12 hours in the saddle. But such is the quality of the Corbin seat, I didn't really begin to notice any discomfort until the 11th hour. As for the Breva, it just kept rolling effortlessly along. Please like, subscribe, etc. And if you enjoyed this and my other videos, you might particularly enjoy my books. They're in Kindle, audiobook and paperback formats, and they're available from Amazon. Just search for Nick Adams Motorcycle or something like that. Thanks for watching.